didn't want to write because I don't know what to write.
Sorry, Jerry. Shoot me, Tommy. Excellent.
Sit down.
In fact, we know we are all humans and will surely die. But when somebody dies, it matters so much to society. High Chief Raymond Dokpesi touched lives. And it's not just being sad, but very, very shocking. It's one person who, not because of political office he held, but because of his own ingenuity and creativity, impacted lives, touched human beings, touched people. And just All of a sudden, we just finished inauguration of the president, and to hear that we have lost such a person, it's very, very devastating, especially to me. He meant so much to me. He has done so much for me. Immediately I left office, he's the person, when I lost election, that celebrated me in this compound. Just to give me some hope that I still have friends, even after losing election. And since I left office, whenever I have to do with media, AIT give us maximum assistance. So, apart from the direct family people, the wives and the children, I think I'm one person who will miss Raymond Dokpesi. We just pray that God should give the immediate family the fortitude to bear the loss.
It was a complete devastation for me, because I've never had this kind of shock. You know, I've had a very long-standing relationship with him and the entire family. And since I came back from my travels, we hadn't seen. So he called me last night at 10:30, and we agreed to have lunch in my place at 2 p.m. today. So when I didn't see him at 2:15, 2:30, 2:45, 3 p.m., I had to call him. Unfortunately, nobody picked the call. Soon after, Obaseki, his orderly, called my orderly to notify me of what has happened. At that point, I virtually lost everything. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how, I had to speak to our mutual friend, High Chief Tommy Kimi, who he had lunch with 2 days ago. Well, we said, let us come to the residence and see things for ourselves. It is, for me, the end of an era of generosity, kindness, love, affection, compassion. He was a very, very, very great and wonderful man. It's really difficult to get oneself together on this occasion. But I know that for what he has done for humanity, the good Lord will gladly accept his soul into his bosom and will give the family members, immediate and expanded, the fortitude to bear this irreparable loss.
When I heard the news, it was the type of information you would definitely say wouldn't be true. But from the source, I couldn't doubt it. And I quickly rushed down to the house, and obviously wishing that maybe the person may have said, oh, it's a mistake. But getting here where we are, we can see that we've lost a great man. A man full of vision, a man who lived way above his age, his own time, and I know a man who is still endowed with reservoir of knowledge and great things to do. A man who has used everything God has given him, his talent, his resources, to work for common good, for charity, for benefit of others. I know he had battled death, and in each and every one of them, he came out successful. It's so sad and painful that it just came from back door in this circumstance. It's still even hard to start thinking of how we will miss him, because it's not yet dawned on us that he's gone. We were just here like 1 or 2 weeks ago to celebrate his recovery, We had a big 70th birthday. We had a quiet, intimate 71st birthday. And then the memories of him have always been great times, great moments, strategic thinking, and all that. So sad. We had it, unfortunately, while this may have happened or why it was happening somewhere at the same time I was one of his close aides. We were talking about him with a lot of plans of things to be done also with him. So expectedly was supposed to have come back and say, hey, this is what is new. And there we are. The feedback was just that the man just passed on. So the nation will lose a great man who had worked so hard for betterment of this country. I knew the role he had played in different political lives and activities. Those who know his personal life and his commitment to faith, his commitment to humanity, would even know that he does a lot more behind the scene than what he does before the camera and the public for politics. Here he is who has always brought the Catholic faith to the world at every given time. And in all of this, he never just charged anything. A whole of our friends who are gathered there will attest to the fact that AIT is always there for any of his good friends to come. So basically, in fact, somebody close to him was just complaining today that he just used this for charity. So who would have believed? So my consolation is that the good Lord, the Almighty God who created him to live his life that way, would grant him eternal rest for all the good and wonderful things he had done for people. I'm a good beneficiary of that. So it's sad. It's still too early to even imagine how he will be missed. Yeah.
This is a terrible, it's really terrible shock. Because just last night, I was with Chief Tommy Kimi, and we both spoke with him. So when I was first told this, I said no, it's not possible that we spoke with him last night. But God works in mysterious ways. Talking about Raymond Dokpesi, the past is sort of strange to me. But he's someone whom you can say is an absolutely loyal and reliable friend and elder brother that you can never have. When he believes in something, he steps out there, no holds barred. He gives it his all. His contribution to this country's development is beyond measure. Those who don't know ought to know that he left his mark in the Federal Ministry of Transport. He left a huge mark in the Federal Ministry of Transport when he was Director of Maritime Services. Several years before I even became minister there. You must have heard of the Africa Ocean Lines. He was instrumental. Are you going to talk about radio, television in this country? Bringing in the private sector to invest in it was the first. He did so many things. And he stood for so much that was right. It's unfortunate that Nigeria has to lose him at this time. But there's still so much in him to give to our nation. It is difficult to say may his soul rest in peace, but that's all we can say. God's will has been done. Glory be to God. Thank you.
the function when I got a call, and I have to leave everything I was doing around 3 o'clock. I've been here. There's a very close personal relationship between me and him. When I lost my dad, he was among the first to visit me at home. And we had a lot together with him. I was shocked. I was here last Friday on the program around 9 a.m. and I find out whether he's around us, he's still asleep. So for me, death is inevitable. It's one of the most painful things that God have created. But there's no solution to it. We must console the family. We must make them to feel that we are all together in this. We share their pains. We share the grief. It's a loss to all of us. It's a loss to Nigeria. It's one destabilized Nigeria that I know. Raymond loved Nigeria. He loved this country to be great. We campaigned together. I was the DJ of his campaign for PDP chairmanship. A lot of memories. All my relations, my parents, knows my relationship with him over decades. So I feel personal loss. I feel pains. May his soul rest in peace. But it's tragic for the country. Thank you.
It's difficult to find words to describe the person, the man, the broadcast engineer, Raymond Dokpesi. Raymond is many things to so many people. In my early days in broadcasting, when Raymond told me that he was venturing into broadcasting, I thought it was a big joke. Because here is a marine engineer, somebody who never had any business with communication, venturing into broadcasting. But lo and behold, Raymond was fortunate to be licensed to operate Nigeria's first independently owned radio station, Ray Power 100.5 FM, in the suburbs of Aleogho in Lagos. And the government of the day of the late General Sani Abacha was so impressed with what we did with private broadcasting, with Ray Power, and they gave him license to venture into television. And that was the beginning of AIT, African Independent Television, which also has a rare privilege and good fortune of one of the earliest Nigerian television stations to transmit to all over the world. So in the fullness of time, Raymond became more of a broadcast personality, was an enigma. You can't find words to describe Raymond. He has a voracious appetite to acquire knowledge. One of Nigeria's foremost broadcasters once said to me that Raymond has done so much in broadcasting that when he speaks, you begin to wonder if he had been a broadcaster all his life. Because he's somebody that doesn't tolerate laziness, he doesn't tolerate indolence. He's somebody who respects talent and is ready to reward talent. Nigeria, the global community, Africa, has missed a colossus. A man who eats, drinks, sleeps, broadcasting. Raymond's contribution to the industry, if you have to document volumes of books, he's done quite a lot. I'm sure posterity and history will judge him very well.
Sir, your mood is okay for me. It's okay. Please let him be.